Welcome to Spotlight Gulf Coast, a weekly showcase of people and events across South Mississippi. Spotlight Gulf Coast is partnered with William Carey University and sponsored by the IP Casino Resort and Spa, Mississippi Power Company, and Ray Brandt Auto Group.
Hi everyone, this is Todd Trenchard, Executive Director of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi, welcoming you to another segment of Spotlight Gulf Coast. Each week we're coming into your living room talking about what's going on all across South Mississippi, and we want to thank our sponsors for this generous opportunity. As you can tell, we do this, I guess, once a year, and I think I had that intro last year. It's going to be a great show. We got some very, very special guests that are getting used to each other, and of course, I'm joined by Amanda Ray and Katie King with the Humane Society. And ladies, nothing gets your attention like an animal. And they're actually being pretty good.
They're being great.
Yes, I mean, we had some others that could have come today that maybe wouldn't have been.
They might have added a little bit of extra excitement with Jolly and Sampson here.
Always look forward to August. You know, the Humane Society Rock and Roll Over event is coming up, and I think you were asking me, are you going to dress up? Of course.
Of course.
I mean, once Elton John, you're always Elton John. You just got to figure out how to make a new top. So I'm looking forward to acting silly for the night. But let's introduce our guest here, and our real guest, because this is the first time we've seen.
Yes, this is King. King is a 2-year-old Pomeranian, and he will be available for adoption at the Rock and Roll Over event.
That I think King alone will get a lot of people coming in to look at what's inside the different cages and things. Yeah. Obviously, full-blooded
yes,
dog. And,
he looks like a lion, so we named him King because he's king of the jungle. And this year's theme is Welcome to the Jungle. So we're really excited.
Well, and of course, this is Madame Leoty. And Madame Leoty is probably not a full-blooded.
But a Rock and Roll Over alumni.
It is definitely a Rock and Roll alumni. And I remember seeing her. I said, that is probably the ugliest dog I've ever seen. I want it.
She's
and
beautiful.
So I was determined I was going to get it, and I did. She has been the best pet. And that's what I think people need to understand. You know, it doesn't matter if I have full-blooded bulldogs and I have 2 from the Humane Society.
Yeah,
and
always room for one more.
they love each other just like anything else. They get their little hierarchy, and I'm surprised that I'd never known this, but the smaller animals, I guess, have to act more ferocious, but they actually rule the roost. And I don't know if that's common or what, but they sort of, I think the big ones know. They'd probably give them a little bit of a leeway. Now, Katie, let's talk a little bit about what's going on at the Humane Society. I know right after this we're going to be announcing, our camp. I'm so excited about that.
Yes,
but
so are we.
Bring us up to speed.
Well, right now, today, we're actually housing 425 animals in the shelter, so our numbers are creeping back up. We're housing 125 animals in foster homes. We're also really pushing for stricter local animal ordinances for spay-neuter laws and breeding registrations and regulations, because we have seen a decrease in the number of adoptions. So what we're realizing, which is a national crisis, is that there are not enough homes to adopt out all these animals into. So rescue really isn't the answer. The solutions nationwide is going to be stricter spay-neuter laws.
Right. So I guess with my great idea that I was going to breed bulldogs, it's probably not the best idea. Leave that to the professionals.
We would not recommend that because, like I said, we have 425 animals in-house that are all waiting to be adopted.
Right.
The pet overpopulation is not just going to disappear, unfortunately.
I like, we've all seen, around town and stuff, you see a lot of homeless people and they always have an animal. And I've talked to quite a few of them, and they said that the animal is really their one companion, and it hurts them when they have to. Sometimes they can't take care of it.
Right.
And so, it doesn't matter who you are, how much you have, or whatever. Animals always bring that sort of sense of a peace to somebody. And I say all the time, it's how I got sober at the Home of Grace. God
absolutely.
used animals to connect, that I could have some kind of purpose, even if it was just taking care of an animal.
Yeah.
And you translate that to humans. Now, what y'all do over there, a lot of people, when I brought you over there, Amanda, I think you're sort of amazed at just how large it is.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And what's going on. This is not just, a small operation. There's things going on front, back.
Right.
We have a lot to offer. One of the reasons that we have seen a decrease in adoptions could be due to inflation. The cost of owning a pet is rising. So we make it our mission to help all pet owners keep their pets. So we try to assist them with whatever they might need, whether it's a pet deposit or food or supplies, vaccinations, surgeries, wellness exams at our clinic. We really try to do everything we can for them to keep their pet rather than having to surrender them because they can't afford them.
Right. And I think that you're right, though. With inflation, the cost of everything has gone up, including trips to the vet. I mean, it's, I'm sometimes used to having taken in a dog and it was $25. Well, that's not the case anymore.
Right.
And so it is a responsibility before you get a pet to know that, there are certain things that...
Yes, they are a lifetime commitment. And we see a lot of owner surrenders because, maybe they're having to move or whatever the circumstances are. We really encourage you to first reach out to family and friends to see if you can rehome the pet rather than just bringing them to the shelter because we are so full.
Now, how many people do you have working there or volunteering there? Because y'all have a lot of volunteers.
We do, yes. We're very thankful for all of our volunteers. We can always use more because our goal is to give 15 minutes of playtime and outside time with each dog in the shelter. But when you have that many animals, it's hard when you have when you're short-staffed. So the volunteers really engage with the animals outside and give them enrichment, toys and treats on a daily basis so they don't get stressed out in their kennels. Which can then lead to upper respiratory infections and sicknesses. So getting outside, getting walked is huge. So yes, all of our volunteers are huge with that.
Do y'all ever, I'm sure y'all have tracked animals when they come in now with the chips and things like that, but you have animals that maybe have traveled a pretty long ways from where they may have started.
We have had some really awesome reunited stories from animals that have been separated from their families for even years. And then with the microchip, we've been able to reunite them, which is always a happy ending.
Well, I still haven't gotten mine microchipped, and certainly something that you would want to do.
Yes, it's hurricane season. So if they were to ever go missing or, get out of the fence or something, if they're microchipped, we'll be easily able to reunite them with you.
The other night when we had that storm in Gulfport that was so bad, there was several dogs that were loose that were running around the neighborhood, and we were making note of that on 2nd Street, that who are these dogs? But it's because of the storm. And they get out. And, we're going to take a short commercial break. I want to come back and talk about Jolly. Because, of course, you went home with a little fur baby.
I did.
So we'll talk about that. Y'all don't touch that remote. Talking about the Humane Society. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, and these are actually the best shows. Just very laid back and a little bit different. Love the smile. I can't believe how well behaved they are. I think they're both maybe a little break from the big boys, and they're just sort of chilling out. But at the last Jolly, I think we had, you named the
I did.
Jolly.
I ended up with the Humane Society puppy we adopted.
Well, they told
Jolly.
me I won it.
I know.
You're using my number.
Right. Well, I had both of our numbers. I had number 1 and number 10. So we didn't know whose it was. But anyways, I convinced my husband. I knew I loved him. He was just adorable.
A very sweet dog.
He's so sweet. So he's a Cocker Spaniel mix. He gets along so well with the boys and the whole family. And then, of course, we have another dog, Lulu, who's a Shih Tzu Yorkie mix. So Lulu was a little jealous at first, but needless to say, Jolly fits right in. So we're real excited.
Y'all had a little saying that, as they get used to the new dogs, because when they first get, they're fighting territorial stuff, and then, like I said, a year later, all 4 of mine sleep on top of each other.
Yeah, we like to go off of the 3-3-3 rule. So 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months until they get fully acclimated into their home and their new schedule and new routine. So you have to be patient.
Right. And another thing I'm probably, good to touch on, people that are watching, is the diet, because the diet's so important. I have a bulldog that is tremendously overweight, and it's probably a little bit of diet and doesn't do exercise, but then it feeds on itself because they get tired. I'm assuming like anybody else. If you're just that big, and that's not healthy. So I've been trying to figure out ways to, get more exercise, a combination of the two. What are some of the, guidelines that you want to give people?
Well, definitely measuring out their food. Don't just give them an entire scoop full. You want to make sure that you measure it out like exactly 1 cup or whatever's recommended for their weight. And then, limit it to twice a day or.
So you pick what's best for them, or
Yeah.
I didn't know if you're supposed to do it once a day, twice a day, or.
Well, it depends on the dog. But you can come to our clinic, and our vets will be happy to tell you exactly how much you should be feeding them for a healthy weight.
And of course, in this type of heat, if you have a dog outside, make sure it has a lot of water. And that's one of the saddest things, is when you have a dog that's chained up and can't get to the water. And that's, almost criminal in my mind. But I've just been noticing how much more the dogs are drinking right now. It's getting pretty bad out there. I wouldn't want to sit out there all day.
No, absolutely not. If you can, definitely bring them inside in a cool, shady area, access to water. If you're going to take them for walks, go early in the morning or later in the evening when the sun's not so hot.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that I am just learning, this dog's teeth are now so important. I didn't know that growing up, but now my dentist, every time I come in, would you like to schedule the dental appointment?
Well, good news. The Humane Society now offers dentals, which is something
nice.
new that our clinic is doing. So yeah, you can come to our community clinic and have your pet's teeth cleaned, pulled, x-rayed, whatever's needed. You can come to our full service vet.
So dogs and any animal is going to probably get the same things that humans do. If you get a cavity or a abscess, or you need to be looking at
Sure.
something like that. And again, it's a responsibility, but once you get into it, it's so worth it. I don't know of a better investment than an animal. It's a relatively small amount of money for the peace and serenity that they can give you. And
And if you can't commit to adopting, we also have our foster program. So when you foster a pet from the animal shelter, you're also being a hero for that animal, but opening much needed space for other animals to come in and receive the shelter and care that they need also.
Before we get to the rock and roll over, which again has become almost a must event to come to, and y'all do so well with it, and it, if you go see it, you want to come back the next year. It's just one of those type of events, and that's been going on for a while, but very excited about it. Y'all had some summer camps that were starting, and I know Butch and I have committed to putting on a camp for special needs kids, and those type of I think weeks of education are so needed in our community. Let's talk about that just for a second.
Yeah, well, education is absolutely key. So creating young animal advocates in our community is going to create a sustainable future for the animals in our community. So we do have our summer camp sessions, and we've been doing summer camp, we call it Club Pause, for about 7 years now. And now this year we're excited to open up an additional session in the fall for special needs as well. So we're really excited about that.
Well, a lot more about that. That'll be the week after Renaissance. And of course, at Renaissance, we'll have one of our little fur babies. You see those people that go and they're so passionate about animals. And of course, you think of Luann right off the bat because she's obsessed with it. And she's, but I'm starting to get into that sort of mode. Like I'm already thinking in my head how I'm taking this thing home.
I figured you were thinking that. It's like Todd's going to end up with.
That's usually the ploy when you bring it on the show. Is like, but these animals, they usually go to some pretty good homes, and it raises monies to help offset the cost of some other things. So, I mean, it's a win-win. I just did not know how many other services are provided. Of course, I know Lauren Damon and Lauren's driven dogs to other cities and collects food at the, Hair and Tonic, and but that goes on everywhere. It's amazing.
Yeah, it takes a lot when you have that many animals. It definitely takes a lot of different moving parts. We try to transport pets to northern shelters where they're not as overcrowded as we are down here in the South. We also adopt to northern adopters where they don't have as many animals in their local animal shelters because they do have stricter spay and neuter laws up north. So they don't have the pet overpopulation like we do in South Mississippi.
I know that pet therapy has become almost a must. Seniors, they've always used it, I think, with, incarcerated people, just giving them a purpose and then trying to break down that wall of being so hard. And, that's become, you would think would be here forever, but this just recently, now you have pets that, what do they call them? Companions? And they go everywhere. I mean, it's nothing to see a dog at a restaurant eating right next to you. And it's, they even have cards. I mean, there's ways to do all that.
And we like to call it doggy day outs or power hours, where you can come to the shelter, basically check out an animal for the day or just for an hour, take it to a pet-friendly restaurant, the beach, a park, wherever. It gives the shelter animal a break, and it also gives you the chance to advocate for that animal out in the community and try to find it an adopter.
Okay. Tell us about, at the Humane Society, it's not just dogs and cats. Every once in a while you'll get...
Yeah, we have a couple guinea pigs right now, 2 rabbits. Sometimes, occasionally, we'll have birds, but typically it's dogs and cats.
That's generally what you're adopting.
Right.
Okay, you don't have any like monkeys or, I've been trying to get me a monkey for a while.
Maybe in the jungle at Rock and Roll Over, maybe.
All right, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Rock and Roll Over, which is coming up in just a couple weeks, so don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, and we've been talking with Katie King with the Humane Society, and of course Amanda Ray, and we've been talking with our guest, Madam Leoty and
King.
Okay, not named after you, but named after
the Lion King.
Lion King. Now we were talking about Rock and Roll Over. I guess it was 2 years ago. It had a rock and roll theme. I know I dressed up as Elton. Last year was Voodoo because I dressed up as Elton as something.
Kind of a skeleton Elton.
Right.
It was great.
And so this year, was it Welcome to the Jungle?
It is.
So we're talking either Guns N' Roses or Welcome to the Jungle. And I think Guns N' Roses are actually coming here on the coast.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are. We're trying to get some tickets for our silent auction, in fact.
I may know the guy that can get it. And I know that Matt's probably being hit up by a lot of people right now for that. And that's going to be a fun theme. Tell us about where the idea came from, because this has been going on a long time now.
Yeah, this will be my 8th Rock and Roll Over with the Humane Society. Every year gets bigger and better each year. We're so thankful for all of our supporters that show up to support our mission as well as donate much needed funds. All of our tables always sell out, but you can still purchase individual tickets to the event, and you don't actually have to be at the event to still support the event. You can bid on any of our online auction items, which includes the VIP adoptable pets, of course.
I think it was last year that we had one of the pets that was going for a pretty good price, and then all of a sudden there was like 5 of them. You never thought about that, but it is a litter. And,
Yeah,
was that 2 years ago?
sometimes we have some surprises up our sleeves, so you definitely want to attend to get the full effect of the event.
And you can take the animals home that night. I mean, that was, there was quite a few of us that actually took the animals home that night. And Hard Rock's really good about that. Not every place will let you bring in animals. And I was surprised just there wasn't any ruckus going on. I think the animals are sort of checking you out. But the theme is to find people in the community to come out and walk an animal, to showcase the animal?
Yeah, basically advocate for adoption in our community. And all of the pets will be available for adoption the night of the event. So King will hopefully go into a loving home and leave that night.
And then you have some MCs that do this just about every year, David and Jonathan.
Yes, they'll be back again.
All
Our
right.
fabulous MCs. They're great supporters of our mission, and they will be there on Thursday, August 17th at the Hard Rock.
Y'all do a great job that night, and you have just people throughout the night that are donating monies and put it on the screen and stuff. But again, those monies are used for what? Just whatever the major needs are for the
Right,
Humane
for
Society?
animal care. And then we like to take the ask portion of the event to support a new project that we're working on. Right now, we're really hoping to renovate some of our animal pods to do indoor-outdoor kennels. We mentioned earlier how important it was for the animals to get outside, to get exercise and fresh air and sunlight. So those outdoor kennel spaces will allow for that.
I don't know if you noticed it with Jolly when you purchased Jolly, but when I went to pick up Madame Leotie, I know the trainer or the girl that had raised him for the few weeks before. It was pretty emotional.
Oh, she was very. I remember that.
And
We
that
we
almost
picked her
stuck
up.
with me, because she was saying
She was
goodbye.
attached.
And I think I even told y'all, well, I'll give it to her.
I remember the puppy.
Yeah.
Madame Leotie was so emotional too. She was whimpering and crying.
Right.
There was definitely an attachment. Jolly did well. He jumped right in the car and he
He's
slept
ready
with
to
us
hit the road.
in the bed that night, and he's never looked back. He's been good.
Yeah, I've thought
He was
about
little,
that.
though.
And she even had a little bag that was made up with some notes, and I brought it home, and I was going through it, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, those are awesome foster parents.
So I couldn't do that. If I take it home for
I
the
know,
night,
they're
it's
staying.
fine.
And that's okay too. We like our foster failures also.
It's now, what is the average household? I mean, it's probably good to have a couple animals if you can, because they do.
Keep each other company if you're at work. A lot of people say, oh, well, I'm not at home enough, to get an animal. Well, they're spending a lot of alone time in the shelter, so, they'd rather be in a home environment, especially if you have another animal at home that will keep them company.
Well, anybody that wants to hear, I have bought a very nice home on 2nd Street for 4 of them. And by the time I'm done, I hope there's about 10. And I'm leaving
Yes.
everything to the animals. I've already told my executor, Mr. Marshall Smith, that the animals live in luxury until there is no more animals. But people are like that. You will get people that are so passionate about animals. I don't know that there's another cause. Usually when there's a voting cause or something, y'all win it every year with having the most votes.
Well, we can all connect with animals, no matter how different we are, we can all agree how important animals are in our lives.
And I know when I mentioned Lori, Lori's been a great part of our community. And yourself, this takes it takes someone with a lot of passion to do this. You see a lot of things that aren't the best scenarios and stuff. It's amazing that some people treat animals the way they do. I just don't understand that, but they're out there. And, if you see that, you certainly, we should report that.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
We definitely, if you see something, please say something to a local animal control officer, report animal abuse to protect the animals, which then protects us as well in the community and the place where we live.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Rock and Roll Over is what day?
Thursday, August 17th.
August 17th. They do have tickets still available.
Yes.
And for the right amount of money, you can get a table.
And a dog.
But you're going to run out of running out of tables, so don't wait. And we appreciate having our little fur babies on. This is so exciting. We'll be able to look back for years and years and remember this time. Thank you, ladies.
Yes, thank you so much.
We appreciate everybody's support of the Baker Foundation of South Mississippi. Until next time, this is Todd Trenchard and Amanda Ray saying so long and may God bless.